for entrusting your children's education to us. We recognize it for the sacred duty that it is, and we recognize its commitment on your part, and we're truly thankful. And I did promise you a little piece of advice, and maybe this is for some of the newer parents, but I don't know. It lasted for me a long time. If, like me, you're one of those people who love seeing your child set off across the parking lot, full of purpose, headed to school, independent as could be, but like me, you still need to stand there and watch them go the whole way, I'll share with you some things that our kindergarten teachers are going to say to their students again and again this year, which is practice makes progress. Stick with it, parents. You'll get there. I thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back over to Assistant Head of School Dave Rosenberg. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, Adam. So we're going to be here for the next 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to send the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade parents off to their classes. So I hope people had a chance to view the specialist video that went out. If not, you could watch it after the fact as well, where the specialist did an introduction to themselves. So we're not going to do a individual introduction now because it just seemed easier to do that up front, and rather than taking the time right now to do that. So I hope everyone had a chance to watch that, but if not, you can go and see that. And I took a call for questions. I only got 2 questions, but both of them were somewhat broad, and so and more applicable to the sort of the specialists who are pulling kids out every week. So the arts and athletics and library. And so we're going to start there. If we have time and I can take some questions in the chat, we also have our learning specialists here, and we have our social justice team here. And I love being able to say social justice team because that we've brought on a second person to work with Stephanie and do social justice work. And so if there are questions about that after we go through the questions I already accepted, then we'll answer them. If not, I'm sure we're going to have time throughout the year dedicated to learning more about what's happening with social justice and to hear more about what's happening with the work of our lower school learning specialists. So the first question that came up was really around how our arts teachers and athletics are adapting their curricula to do in a very different way, because not only are they having to teach to kids who are social distanced, but they're in many cases needing to teach to kids who are social distanced in a whole other room, or on nice days who are outside. And so I'm going to ask, I'm going to call on just them one by one to sort of go through and talk a little bit about that. So I'll start with Julie, our librarian.
Okay, I did not expect to go first. Hi, I'm Julie Coven-Levine, the school librarian. And in the last 10 days, or I don't know, it feels like 6 years, but that we've been back at school, I have changed a lot of the way I've been teaching, because so far most of my library classes have been outside. So interestingly, should we go online, I'm actually incredibly prepared to teach online, but I'm really excited to be in person because a lot of what I teach is technology based. So much of what I already have been teaching, all grades K through 5, has involved technology. Especially I do a lot of the digital citizenship curriculum, so teaching how we use the internet safely and responsibly, and how to do research. I already did all that before, so I can easily do that. I can do that if we do go online, and I'm doing that with some of the classes where I'm in the library and they're in their class. But instead, most of what I'm doing is actually outside, so I'm completely tech-free, which is kind of exciting and a little bit different for me. So I am doing a lot of read-alouds and then a lot of games outside that are literature-based. Right now, it's still getting to know you with the younger kids, and figuring out different ways to actually get books in the hands of the students. So for now, I'm kind of taking orders. I have like a book menu for the kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd graders, and then I'm delivering the books. But our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and soon our 2nd graders as well, I've been teaching how to search our catalog, which I had done years past, but they'd be in the library, and then they would spend time in the catalog, and I would say, just go to the shelves, browse the shelves. It's exciting to browse the shelves. So now I'm teaching them. We actually have like a really revamped catalog. I'm pretty excited about it. So I've been teaching them remotely from the library. Like the third graders and fourth graders are down the hall, and I've been remoting in to teach them how to search the catalog. They all have a username and password, and they can request books, and then I deliver them to them on my little cart. So that's been kind of fun. So I'm kind of doing the best of both worlds right now, where we're outside having a library, and then the kids are like, what about the books? And I say, well, we'll get the books later. But I'm just rethinking my activities. I'm using a lot of my prior camp experience and youth group experience to engage the kids in more interactive, campy ways, along with the stories that we're doing. So.
Thanks, Julie. Next, I'm going to call on Nick Linder, who is our new director of music.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nick Linder. As Dave said, I am the new music director. And kind of piggybacking on what Julie said, this is week 1.5, feels like 8.5 years. And I'm really excited to be at Rashi. So kind of how I'm incorporating things, I would say that what we're doing at the beginning is fairly, in a weird way, typical to my curriculum, but obviously I'm new to Rashi. So I'm a big fan of movement activities, body percussion, meaning snapping, tapping, clapping, moving our bodies and really trying to internalize beat, melody through movement. And luckily enough, these are things that work really well with both social distancing and outdoor classes, which all of my music classes so far have been in tented areas, and when possible, using the meadows, the fields, and the huge spread of the Rashi campus to lead my classes. So this is kind of perfect for distancing the kids and working with, as I mentioned, body percussion. So we're listening to certain recordings. We're using instruments, not necessarily wind instruments or our voices, because right now the logistics of those are less than ideal. So we're using certainly percussion instruments. I'm trying to accompany as much as I can on guitar, ukulele, and a wide range of instruments, and really trying to do things that won't necessarily require sharing of instruments or too much interpersonal contact between the kids. So as long as we're kind of staying in our bubble, we're able to make a lot of ensemble music and really take advantage of movement activities, because I am a huge proponent of kind of feeling the beat in your body and moving and dancing, all of which work really beautifully, especially now while the weather is warm and on days, not so much like this afternoon when it's raining, but when the weather is nice. It's been absolutely delightful being outside with the kids and really getting to move and shake our bodies and get around. Moving towards when the weather might change, either getting colder or rainy days, or for some of our distance learners, there is a fantastic assembly of online resources, whether through chromelab.com, GarageBand. There are a myriad of websites, and music fluency and literacy, whether it's tonal literacy, reading treble and bass clef for piano or guitar, or rhythmic notation, all of which are core tenets of my curriculum, are things that even should the unexpected happen, and we're doing this through a laptop, are absolutely doable online, because they're really things that would be visually based and writing based, and that writing is transitioning to typing and compositional software. So for younger students, we're dealing more with rhythm notations and kind of being able to read a rhythm segment, tap it, clap it, drum it, step it, move to it. To some of our older students who, as the year progresses, are going to be dealing with chords, arpeggios, and entry-level music pieces that we're going to be reading and playing. For some of our more advanced students, we're going to be able to stretch a little bit in that direction, but since this is very much a medium that's based in reading and writing, these are things that work very well through computer software. And I think that is kind of a just broad overview of how music is working in our current school year.
Thanks, Nick. Keeping in the arts realm, I'm going to turn over next to Bonnie Goldberg.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Goldberg. I'm the director of theater at Rashi. The days that are beautiful, I've been out in the tent actually helping out with music and also with art for kindergarten, so it's been fun to see the kids that way. But as we start to move into the school year and we start to work on our grade plays for each grade. The beauty of all of them is that the shows are either written and arranged, for adapted for Rashi by myself, or they're written by the students themselves. So we're going to have a chance to really be able to do that within the classroom. And hopefully by then we might be able to do some social distancing in the theater. The wonderful thing is that working with Mike Fink, he has some great editing skills. So if you like the little specialist video that he helped edit and put together, we're going to be able to use some of that for some of our theater shows if we need to go virtual, or hopefully by the time we hit the spring, we might be able to do some social distance shows. Our after school program, we are going totally virtual for after school, just that way we can mix up the grades for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. We start on Monday, and I have a number of shows that are written for the virtual platform. So when you think about the virtual platform for theater, it's where theater meets film. So we're going to be teaching them how to act for the camera, basically. So we're going to be working on our acting skills close up, which is kind of a neat way to do it, but using a lot of our voices, still able to move our bodies a lot, even when we're on the virtual realm. And it should be a lot of fun. We'll see what show we come up with, because we're going to let the students have a little bit of input. So if your student hasn't signed up for after school, we hope to have them join us on Mondays from 4 to 5. That's the theater.
Thanks, Bonnie. And our final person in our arts department, Erica Smiley.
Hi, welcome everyone. Like all teachers, I think I had some, trepidation about this year. And that quickly went away as soon as I entered the building, and as soon as I just got into the swing of things. I think the biggest thing that I'm so excited about, and that I think the kids are so excited about, are to have materials again. And with many apologies to the classroom teachers, we are painting, we are using pastels, we are doing everything possible. I wheeled my drying rack down to the basketball court, and listen, we're gonna paint. We gotta paint. And the other nice thing is that should we go online, we are very lucky to have enough of a good arts budget that I'll be able to send home a more generous assortment of materials. So it will not be like, what can we do with a pencil, a piece of loose leaf paper, and a toilet paper roll, if you have a toilet paper roll? So it's just going to be a great year all around. I am mostly managing to stick with my curriculum that I have established. I'm also adding a bit more of a emphasis on nature, so using art materials, using nature as art materials, using nature to inspire our artwork, because like all of the other specialists, most of my classes have been outside so far. I think I've had 1 or 2 classes rained out, but the rest have been outside. And the reason for this is that as those of you whose children have had me before know, I'm a really process-oriented teacher. And so the hardest thing for me about being online in the spring was not being able to see the work that the kids did from start to finish. So while we were able to do a lot of great programs, what I really missed is seeing how the work progressed and being able to talk to kids as it went along. So it's been a wonderful 8 years / 7 days. But really, I'm just so happy to be back. And Bonnie, you'll be proud of me for the amount of improvisation I've been doing, but I am somebody who really likes to think on my feet, and it's luckily a skill that I and so many other teachers have and have had to develop. So yeah, that's art.
Okay, and then finally, Jen Shaw, our lower school fitness teacher, and also the proud owner of new waterproof sneakers after our first couple days here.
With that being said, hello everyone. First of all, I want to say I'm so happy to be back, but also I hope you see me waving in the traffic circle. Good morning to all of you, and giving the thumbs up to those parents like Adam that are watching their kids go all the way in. We have them and we're taking good care of them. To start, obviously, fitness and health is going to be outside as much as possible. And while I have you all here, want to say, please let your kids have their boots, that's fine. They can play in their boots and rain jackets and all of that stuff, because I have my waterproof shoes now, thanks Dave, and my rain jacket. The curriculum pretty much is going to be the same while we're at school. And I think the shift will just be some individual skill building and splitting up those teams a little bit differently. I'm also going to have to modify some of the games to maybe keep that distance outside, but we're really going to try to focus on being outside this year. It just gives them those mask breaks that they need in a physical setting. And if we do go remote, which hopefully we don't, I've been loving being back with the kids, but if we do go remote, I've learned a lot of fun things last spring and understand what the kids are starting to like and what they don't like. And also I'll have a lot more live classes with them to do workouts and things like that and some skill building. So that's pretty much it for fitness and health. And if you have more questions, you can always reach out to me.
Thanks, Jen. The second question that we got, and that I'm going to have each of those people speak to, and we'll just go in the same order. So I hope everyone remembers your order. There was a question about the integration of Jewish studies and exposure to modern Hebrew in the specialist classes and how that might look like. So I remember Julie was first, so we'll go with Julie to start, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay, so I incorporate a lot of Judaism into my lessons. First of all, through Jewish holidays, the books that I choose to read with all grades. But also I've done over the years different lessons that are specifically Jewish in nature. With kindergarten, I do actually a unit around Birkat Hamazon. So actually I have a few weeks, the blessings after meals. So there's a few weeks where I spend library time looking at books about where our food comes from and showing respect to like all the ways, all the people that were involved getting our food and things like that, and just showing gratitude. So I do lessons like that, units all across the board, and then particularly with digital citizenship, which is our curriculum around using the internet safely. Over the last couple of years, I actually noticed that I was incorporating Jewish values in without really realizing I was doing it. So then I forcibly started doing it. Just realized, just even using words like kavod when we talk about respect for creators' rights, and just all these Jewish values that when we're just using, when we're being kind online and being thoughtful. And this summer, I even spoke virtually at the Association of Jewish Libraries conference about how we infuse Jewish values into our digital citizenship curriculum here. And a lot of it to me felt so obvious. And it turns out that other school librarians were really like surprised and impressed and thought that they could use some of my lesson plans too. So a lot of Judaism in the library.
I believe I was next. I'm just going to hop in. So a couple of ways. So I think the bigger, more obvious ones, as Julie was mentioning before, are holiday-based ones. There are so many holiday-specific songs and melodies, whether we're talking, more pop-oriented holidays, there's got to be 1,000,001 Hanukkah songs, to more traditional or more niche songs that we're doing. Now, obviously, this year, since we're not really doing a ton of singing, we're more focusing on the melody aspects. And something that I love about Jewish music, especially traditional music, is it uses so many very specific melodies and scales that you're not going to find anywhere else really in the world. So we're really going to be looking at the melodies as they break down for not just holiday specific music, but traditional Jewish music through the ages, whether we're talking holiday specific or otherwise. And then coming at it from a more modern angle, I love taking time in my curriculum for all ages to look at different composers, performers, and musical luminaries. I do a Composer of the Month unit for some of our younger students. And there are so many amazing Jewish composers that it's great to highlight, whether we're talking Mendelssohn in the classical era or Irving Berlin for some of our more jazz-oriented stuff. There are so many luminaries of our people so that we can really highlight Jewish music not only as a tradition that ties us to the past, but something that is still current and is still going on and still happening. So that's a big part of how we incorporate it. I myself am not a Hebrew speaker. I certainly have some of my collection of words and the years of Hebrew school tied back to me, but I am a lifelong learner, and I am so lucky that teachers like Ayelet Lipton have met with me and given me some amazing tips on Israeli music that I've really gone to town on. I have a bilingual partner who has also given me some great tips, and not only for traditional stuff, but trying to enrich my curriculum with as much not only Jewish music, but Israeli music and Hebrew as we can possibly have, just to augment the curriculum that we're already working on of Beethoven, Brahms, Miles Davis, and many of the big names that you might expect to see in an elementary school music curriculum.
So in the theater program, the best part of my job is I get to collaborate with all of the teachers at that grade level. So when we are putting on our kindergarten show or our first grade show, I'm working with the teachers, and I'm also working with the Hebrew teachers. So we're putting in all of the Hebrew and the Judaism with their assistance as we build their show. And for the third, fourth, and fifth grade, as the students do a lot of their writing, again, we're collaborating. We'll have a chance to collaborate with Nick as well to add in some music. We'll be, working with the teachers on all of the different aspects that help build the showcase that's actually going to reflect what they've been working on for the year for each of the shows that they do in second, third, fourth, and fifth grade.
Okay, Erica, I believe you're up.
I am, and I already started, and then I turned on my microphone. Sorry, still getting the hang of this. Some of the ways that I integrate Hebrew and Judaism into the art curriculum are through a strong emphasis on Jewish artists. Some of the artists that we study for both their artwork and in terms of the context of their Jewish identity, Yaakov Agam, Mark Chagall, Louise Nevelson, Sonia Delaunay, a good mix of Jewish artists from a number of different countries and backgrounds. We do a lot of, art being what it is a lot about self-identity. And so a lot of the pictures, a lot of the projects that we do involving self-identity, inevitably kids start bringing up examples of how Judaism impacts their identity. We also celebrate Jewish holidays. The two holidays that I focus on in terms of major art projects are Passover and Hanukkah. The reason for that is because those are the two that are the most family-oriented and family-based. So of course, when we're doing projects about Passover or projects about Hanukkah, those are great opportunities to bring in some of that Hebrew vocabulary, whether it's about Seder plates, menorahs, all of those things that they learn about. We learn about the traditions of the ritual objects. We make some ritual objects. We learn why we're using and making the ritual objects as well. As far as integrating Hebrew language beyond holidays, that's something that I am happy to say. As Nick mentioned, I'm a lifelong learner, and I do have some really exciting things in progress. Specifically, Ari Markovsky and I were meeting the other day when just casually chatting when we discovered that in first grade we both teach a unit on color, and I thought, well, why don't we collaborate on this and work out something together where, how about I teach about the color wheel and invent some kind of game or project for the kids with the Hebrew names of the colors. So there's a really strong spirit of collaboration at the Rashi School, especially I think right now. It's like the farther apart we are, the closer we want to work together right now. And so with that spirit of collaboration, I'm really looking forward to doing some more and exciting integration of Hebrew language into my work.
All right. Good job, Erica. I listen to them and I'm like, how do they stay so calm during these things? I get so nervous. But one way that I integrate the Jewish culture in Hebrew in our class for fitness and health is during one of my favorite units, which is the dance unit. We do creative dance and we also do Israeli dance, which gives the kids an opportunity to listen to some songs and start to count and practice their counting to their steps in Hebrew. And it also has taught me how to count in Hebrew, which is amazing. We've noticed years past that Yom Ha'atzmaut was one of our favorite days where we spent some time doing all different activities. And one of the things that I got to do in my first few years was Israeli dance. So then we worked together to make that part of my curriculum, which The kids love it, and I love it, and it's a great way for them to be active while staying immersed in the culture. And that's it.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Before we go off, just wanted to point out, first of all, if you didn't see the introductory video that we sent out, please do. We have 5 other people on the call that I talked about earlier, Hannah Perkins, Fallon Cates, and Darcy Angelo, who do a lot of work with your children in the classrooms, and we're going to have time where we're going to highlight the great work that they're doing. And I think what Hannah and Fallon are doing now especially is really exciting, dividing up the literacy instruction and the math instruction between them. And we have our social justice team of Stephanie Rotsky and Sherman Goldblum, who we are looking at the next phase of social justice at Rashi, and will be highlighted throughout the year as well. So if you didn't meet them in their introductory video, please go and watch that. And if you are a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade parent, you need to go to your class or your Hebrew class now, and just follow the links on the schedule. And everyone else, I am going to wish you all a Erev Tov, a good night, and we'll see your kids bright and early tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.